Hey folks, it's Lindsay Hullis with SPS over at the Cambria Hotel downtown Detroit with the Hoops and Culture. We just had our mental health night, and Horatio Williams of the Horatio Williams Foundation was beyond words, and so were we after we had former Detroit Police Chief James White, who is now the Executive Director for DWIHN, DWIHN Integrated Health Network. Let me tell you something. You brought it home.
Thank you.
You brought it home. We had a great speaker prior to you, but there was a very healthy contrast, and I'm just overemphasizing the point that I believe our young athletes got just as much from your presentation as well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, even though you don't have an orange, you had a bottle of water, right?
There you go.
You talked about your transition after 30 years leaving the Detroit Police Department or having experience there, and then now making the transition. We heard that remarks, but why was it so important for you to have this new life after your leadership role with the Detroit Police Department?
You know, I want to help people. I did it for almost 30 years in the police department, last force chief, and then being able to really make an impact in an area where I think is much needed in behavioral health, something that affects all of us.
Right.
I mean, every single person.
Right. What is it like for you when you take off the badge, you take off your weapon, and you come before a body like this to put in just as much work? From an emotional bandwidth standpoint, is it just as similar or just a different work you got to do?
You know, it's very different. You know, when you're in uniform, and certainly when you're a chief, you got all the bells and whistles on.
Right.
You walk into a room, you generally get attention. When you don't have all that, you have to earn it. And you have to earn it with having a message that makes sense and resonates with people. I'm humbled by the opportunity of what Mr. Williams gave me tonight to be able to talk to young men that are on their way to doing amazing things and to just share a little bit of who I am,
right.
You know, and really try to demystify this thing called behavioral health because so many people are confused by it.
Right. Before we even get a few more things at the time we have, speaking of emotional bandwidth, how did you have the ability to see any and everything on a given night and still continue to step into a leadership role? There's no umbrellas with little drinks. You're not on the beach or anything like that. You're still in the fight.
No, you know, thank you for that. And it's you have to prioritize your mental health. You have to prioritize your space, your mental space, and your personhood. You know, you as I was telling the young men, you have to be okay with having moments to yourself, you know, and reflecting on, you know, all the things that I've seen. And yeah, do they bother me? I still have memories of some really tragic situations. But I also know I check in with myself. You know what I mean? I take that first few minutes of every morning and just kind of do a self-evaluation and how I'm feeling. And I'll be honest with you, get support, get a counselor. You know, I am a firm believer that a mental health counselor is as essential as a dental hygienist. Every 6 months, you should be checking in on the brain and your emotion and your emotional state.
Right. You said something, a number of powerful things, but can you recap the statement about what we do when we have a cold compared to what we do when there's a mental health issue?
Yeah, and you know, I can't own that one. The psychiatrist
that
I did my clinical with just really expressed something to me that has had tremendous impact on me as I moved through this work. And he said to me one day that, you know, unaddressed mental health issues are the equivalent of having a sniffle or a cough and really not taking anything for it. All of us, when we get a sneeze or a cough or scratchy throat, we take cough medicine or we take some type of preemptive type medications to lessen the effects of the cold. He said, but the problem with behavioral health is those sniffles of the brain, if you will, that occur in those dark moments, or you get up and you just don't feel like yourself. We never do anything to treat that unless there's a complete failure. And he said to me, he says, it would be the equivalent of treating a cold when it became pneumonia, how we treat the brain.
And that's almost deadly.
And it's almost deadly at that point. And I think when we don't treat those sniffles of the brain, when we have those dark moments and we don't talk to somebody, or we're depressed, or we're suffering through grief and loss, or the loss of a loved one, or a breakup, and we're not reacting the way that we should, we don't do anything about it. We just, you know, we get over it, or we just lay around and hope that it passes, and oftentimes it doesn't. Now, we can mask it, and then it'll come back out in another place.
Sure, I get that. But with the time we have, can you talk about why DWIHN is such a great resource, not just in Detroit and not just in the metro area, but throughout the state and beyond?
Yeah, you know, that's a good point that you made about being throughout the state and beyond. Yeah, we are Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, and our focus is Wayne County, but we're not turning anybody away. You know, you got our number. I don't care if you're in California. You call and say, I need help. We're going to connect you to services.
Wow.
Now, if you are in Michigan, we can directly link you to services in Michigan to get you the help that you need. Everything from depressive disorders, substance use disorder, urgent care for behavioral health. We have outpatient clinics that you can walk in and get the services that you need. If you don't have money to pay for it, we're not turning you away. You come, we're going to treat you, we're going to give you what you need. If you know someone who's got a drug problem and you need Narcan, you just want to have the Narcan around in case they decide to use drugs and you need to use it, we got that for you. So we offer, we do training. We'll come to your business, your place of work, your place of worship. We will do that training for you. We just have so many different programs that I'm proud of. But one of the biggest that we have is our mobile crisis unit.
Really?
And so here's what that is. So if you call our number and ask for help, what we will do is we will come out in an unmarked vehicle to your house. We can treat you. We're like almost like an EMS, but it's not marked because we don't want to bring any negative stigma to anyone. We come out to their house. We can treat you. Over half the people we treat right in their living room. You don't even have to leave with us.
Wow.
And those services, again, you know, if you don't have money, don't worry about it. We're here to help you with behavioral health.
Well, you've been serving in so many capacities, and you continue to serve. Personally, I want to say I appreciate what you've done, and I think these young men were really impacted. Any final words you have before we let you go?
I just want to say what an amazing opportunity, Mr. Williams. Thank you for including me. It was just a really awesome event, and thank you for looking out for these young people and setting the path for their success.
Great. Outstanding. It's such a pleasure. We look forward to working with you in the future. With that being said, this is Lindsay Huddleston with SPS. We'll see you next time. Peace.